Hey there. So today I'm going to show you how to cure anxiety, how to fix your anxiety, and I'm not really a doctor, so don't take anything I say as medical advice from a professional, but I do have experience, so let's get to it. All right, so like I said, I'm not a doctor, so don't take what I have to say as medical professional advice. If you are having some problems, by all means seek some actual help to get assistance. But what I am going to give you is what has worked really well for me, and as someone who has experienced moderate to severe anxiety and a lot of panic attacks, I think a lot of these things will be very helpful to a lot of people. So that's why I wanted to kind of take the time to make this video and give out this advice so that everybody can benefit from it. A lot of the things you may have already heard from other people, or you may hear from a psychologist, but I think it helps to actually hear from someone who's been in the same situation, and it certainly helps me, and or has helped me. So without further ado, I'll get into it. So essentially, what I more or less had would be classified as generalized anxiety disorder. The way it kind of started was just kind of out of the blue, really. One day I was just driving somewhere to meet the wife and the kid, and all of a sudden I had to stop the car because I felt like I couldn't breathe. I didn't really know what was going on with me. I thought something was horribly medically wrong, and I had to have her drive me back, my wife. I had to have my wife drive me back, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just feel like I'm going to die." And it's the worst feeling ever. It's just to have like this sense of doom and dread for really no reason. And the interesting thing about it was it didn't really matter. There wasn't really anything that I could point to. It was like a reason why it was how it was. And I would try to find, I'm a very logical person, so I would try and find, different causes that it could be. If the weather changed, right? Like I would think, well, it's about to rain, and that might actually be part of it, because I was so hypersensitive to any minor change in the environment that like anything could have set me off. If I went somewhere at night, all of a sudden, like things that I would do normally, no problem, I would just suddenly be just terrified, and I would think that I was going to die. It's horrible. I would just sit in my bed or lay in my bed and just think, I'm going to die. I'm not going to be able to breathe anymore. My heart would be racing. There was a couple times I ended up just going to the hospital because I didn't understand what was wrong with me. I didn't know what was going on. I thought there was something seriously physically wrong. And the truth was, it really was just all in my head, and I just didn't understand why it was happening. Obviously there's some change in brain chemistry that's causing a lot of that, and I don't necessarily think that it was anything that was medically wrong. I think, in truth, now that it's been a couple of years now, and I haven't really had any kind of relapses into it, I think the truth is it's just, it was just a transient thing where I was very stressed out. It was a very trying time in my life, I guess you could say. There was a lot of changes going on. Having children all of a sudden, being married all of a sudden, no longer living alone. For most of my adult life, I had lived alone. Hadn't had anybody depending on me. I was completely separate. I would occupy my time in many different ways, and then the shock of how I have other people in my life all the time is kind of like, I guess it was a lot for me. Plus a new job, prospects on new job, new location. I mean, really every possible thing that can add stress to your life. I was doing all those things, and just poorly timed, I guess, would be what it was. So, I mean, heck, even my dog had cancer, but I mean, he's perfectly fine now. He's actually down here next to me, laying on the floor. Um, there was just a lot of things that were going horribly wrong, and it's actually surprising looking back that I made it through just fine. And it's kind of like, well, how did I not see this back then? I think that's the cause a lot of anxiety that people have. Is, of course, all those things are going to cause changes in your brain chemistry, and medication can help. I don't think medication is necessarily the answer for everyone, and I don't think that is the answer, because things like that are going to alter your brain chemistry more, and that's not going to help you cope. I think one of the biggest, most important things you can do to actually curing anxiety and not having it return is to build a degree of mental toughness. And you do that by more or less embracing it. And, what I mean by that is I would get these feelings of terror and dread and doom, and I would just fight it. I would fight it, and I wouldn't, I would just end up losing, because you can't, you can't fight your own mind, essentially, I guess. It's going to be that way. What I ended up doing was saying, hey, this is happening right now. It's not going to last forever. This time could be the last time. And those thoughts were actually the best thing that I had ever figured out, was just by saying, I'm having some panic right now. I'm having anxiety. This really sucks. This is going to pass, though. This will end. This will not be forever. This could be the last time. And as I started to embrace it more and more, and as I started to, learn to live with it, it started to go away. There's other things I've tried. I went out and I tried to meditate. I live not far from a beach, so I was able to go to the beach during the midday or at night, and I could just kind of sit there by myself and listen to the water and just close my eyes and think. And that helped a little bit. I think meditation in any form can help out anybody in some way. I'm not saying it's a cure-all of any kind. I'm not one of those types of new age type people, but I think having, obviously having some support in your life is also hugely effective as well. But being able to embrace that you have something going on, and understanding that it's not going to be forever. It's not going to last for your entire life, right? It's just temporary. Every state of mind that you're in is going to eventually just go, it's going to be temporary. Things will change. Things will get better. They always do. Things have a way of working themselves out, and that too shall pass. So if you take the time to just think to yourself, hey, this isn't forever. This is just the right now. Right now sucks, but later is going to be better. And this could be the last time. And I'm confident if you can do that, everything will start to get better. It really will. It's not the end of the world to have anxiety. I definitely did, and it went away, no problem. It went away because I was able to accept it and understand it, and I was able to move on. And that's what it's about. Building that mental toughness is the other key part of that. And the way you do that is, like I said, embrace it. And you start to develop an immunity to it. And the way I'm thinking about it is really just like any disease. Once you get it, you'll get a fever, you'll get chills, you might throw up, you might have some real bad times, might have a headache, whatever. But that's your body fighting it off. And anxiety is, I believe, your mind's way of saying, there's something wrong. I think we're sick. We need to fight this off. And it's fighting off that infection. And if you look at it that way, it's not really that bad. Whatever your type of anxiety is, whether it's generalized or if it's, having to do with social anxieties, being around large groups of people, whatever it is, if you accept it, if you embrace it, if you still move forward, if you prove to yourself that even though it sucks right now, it's going to get better. If you can keep proving that to yourself over and over again, you'll build that toughness and that resilience, and that's what will get you through it every time. So, I would love to hear other stories. If you've had anxiety, if this has helped you at all, please put it down in the comments, because I really do enjoy hearing about that kind of stuff, and I want to be able to help people out with that, and that's kind of the whole point of making this video. Aside from that, if it is helpful to you, if you do appreciate what I'm saying, by all means, like, subscribe. That helps me out a lot, especially now that they've changed the way the partnership program works. I now have to get like 100 and some, or like 110 or 120 more subscribers before I can monetize videos again. Not that I make a whole lot off it anyway. But yeah, if you liked it, please like, subscribe, and if you like stuff like this, let me know and I can make more of it. But yeah, thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.